Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Henderson. I'm here with my colleague, Richard Hay. Richard just got back from Microsoft Build. He was there all week last week.
But it was a good week. It was good to see Microsoft, putting out their developer stuff and talking about developers and talking about the tools that are available. Microsoft can't have a discussion about any product and service these days without the cloud being involved, without Microsoft 365 services being involved, without developers being involved. And Microsoft's focus last week were on developers and the tools they can use in order to produce the best possible experiences for Windows users and app users and stuff like that. And so if you're a developer, developers were psyched about last week. They were excited about the news that was coming out. Microsoft is doing some things that we've never seen them do before. Normally, Microsoft, once they're invested in a direction and an idea, they keep going down that road no matter what, and eventually hit a wall and then have to backtrack. They're not wasting their time anymore. If something's not working, they're backing down, they're changing their mind, they're changing direction, and they're redoing it. Good example of this was Microsoft Edge, right? Their new Chromium-based Edge browser is no longer going to be tied to Windows 10. It's going to be available on all supported versions of Windows. They did announce last week a Mac OS version, and even the potential that it's going to be on Linux. I mean, that's just something we would have never seen with their browser. I think it's going to be a good deal for them. Developers used to be very tied to the current version of Windows 10, the most recent feature update, which Microsoft has been releasing 2 at a time. We're about to have the 7th one coming up the end of this month. And developers always had to be concerned about what build their users were on because certain functions and features are in the latest versions of the software development kit and the latest feature update. So if they had users on older versions, they kind of had to pick a safe middle, right, to give them a generic set of features. Well, that's another element that Microsoft is extracting from the operating system. They're open sourcing it, right? They're putting it up on NuGet and GitHub in NuGet packages. Developers will be able to feature these capabilities in their apps for all supported versions of Windows 10 feature updates. So that goes back 18 months, right? So that's at least 3 feature updates that they'll be able to put the newest and latest features in and give it to their customers. So for developers, it was an exciting week.
So what was your big takeaway from the event? I know you've been to a lot of Microsoft events. Tell us how this one was different aside from the developer focus, obviously.
Well, this is now my 5th build that I've been able to go to over the last 5 years. And Microsoft, you cannot get away from Microsoft's cloud, right? Cloud is tied to everything. They're really selling Azure to developers. They want developers to put their apps on Azure. They want their data on Azure. They want everything the developer does and ties to on Azure. Of course, there's Microsoft 365 and all those services that come with that. That's right, partly Office 365 and other functionality like cloud storage, SharePoint, OneDrive, all of that stuff. Microsoft wants developers building for those platforms. Teams, Microsoft Teams, one of the fastest growing platforms for Microsoft ever, over 500,000 users on it. There is a massive developer opportunity within Teams to monetize your apps and get them in there for organizations to use within their team structure.
And so what about machine learning?
That was a big sell with Microsoft this past week with the Microsoft Graph. Again, another opportunity for developers to gain access to information that can help better the user experience. And for an IT admin and a big enterprise company, these tools are going to make their life easier. Microsoft talked about passwordless, right? The new FIDO2 authentication protocol that they have gotten to be a part of. We're getting closer and closer to being passwordless on Windows 10. And so through Microsoft products and services and all that, it'll all be tied together, that identity. And truly, AI and ML is a big piece of that. And I don't think anything Microsoft does these days doesn't have those 2 things touching it somehow.
And it sounds like IT pros are going to be up against some new challenges through passwordless and other things on the horizon. So
it's a whole new approach to things. And to me, that passwordless seems like it's way out there in the ether. It kind of feels like it's way out there, but we're already experiencing some of that, especially if you use a Windows Hello authentication camera or something like that to log into your machine, for instance. So yeah, there's a lot going on. There's no doubt.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, and it's great to have you on the show again.
Great. Thanks, Nicole.